Welcome back to the Afterword, a conversation about the future of words. We are so glad to have Andrew Bustamante here with us to continue our conversation about cybersecurity and the words we use and the stories we tell. We're talking specifically about how we can tell facts from myths about online safety and how we can keep our families safe on the internet. And I want to continue with what we left off with last time, Andrew, because you were saying the greatest threat to most people in cybersecurity is not from cybercrime, but from data collection that large corporations or presumably government agencies or anyone with that much power could do. In surveys, internet users are already expressing that they have grave concerns about their safety and their privacy online. They say they believe it's not possible to go through life without being tracked. They believe you, and yet they're still downloading the apps. They're still filling out the surveys. They're still sharing some shockingly intimate information in public forums. Can you help explain why internet users express one thing and then do the exact opposite in their online behavior?
Yeah, Holland, it's such an awesome observation. So it goes into human psychology and it goes into the human behavior, which is something that in espionage at CIA and in all elite spy organizations, we have to get deep into the heads of people, because if you understand how people work, then you're always one step ahead of people. And it doesn't matter if they're French or German or North Korean or American. Human beings are human beings. And there are certain elements about the pink matter between our brain that's always the same. When it comes to internet users who are concerned about their safety and privacy online, that makes logical sense. But the internet still gives you this false sense of security because you can hide behind an anonymous name. You can call yourself Bears fan, 1992, and you think that you're safe. You think that, oh, now I can go on Facebook and I can talk trash about, whatever. I can say whatever horrible thing I want about whoever I want to say it about. I can express any opinion, vaccines or no vaccines, homeschool or public school. I can say anything I want to say because nobody knows my name's Andrew Bustamante. They all think I'm Chicago Bears fan 1992. That's why you see that false sense of security behind veiled anonymity gives people false confidence that it's worth it. It's worth it to trade their private data in exchange for not being publicly known as their real name. That's part of psychology. All of us, we are all willing to be more brash, more risk tolerant, more emboldened when we know that we're hiding behind a mask. That's human psychology, survival instinct. So that's what happens. Then there's this other thing that happens with human psychology where people are resigned to a more powerful entity. So this is something that happens very commonly in faith. You feel like there's a sense of comfort knowing that there's a larger power out there, because that larger power takes on responsibility and authority that you don't have to worry about. So now all of a sudden you say, I got fired from my job, not because I was a bad employee, but because it was meant to be. And there's this resignation that's very comfortable to us because it was never in our control in the first place. We can rationalize that it was never ours to control. And that's what happens is people will say, I don't like that my privacy is being invaded, but I don't really have any way to control it. So I might as well lean into it and enjoy the fact that I can say anything I want to say online.
Wow. Holland, we just jumped right into it. I'm already a little knee deep into this topic here. And you're right, Andrew. It's all, and you mentioned this on our last episode in The Essential Element, that we're in control of our data. And so if we're going to be good consumers and have safety about this online behavior, then it's kind of on us. We have to change the behavior.
Right. And there's certain elements of human behavior that are very difficult to change. And when you add on to that decades or years, maybe even generations of learned behavior from parents and families, it's even harder. The daughter of a gossiping mother who was the daughter of a gossiping grandmother, it's very hard for them, for the new generation to not gossip because that's all they've ever known. So Facebook just made it possible for you to take gossip to the digital world.
Yeah. Point taken. Absolutely. All right. So, Andrew, do you think protecting privacy is possible? Is it advisable? And when might it not be a good idea to be anonymous online? And you kind of mentioned this in your last answer about the Bears fan. Is anonymity something we should strive to keep?
Yeah, there's a lot of really good questions in there, Amy. So let me just kind of try to take them one at a time. So protecting your privacy is absolutely possible. The easy way is what we talked about in the previous episode. The easiest thing to do is just to say no. Anytime you see, can we collect your cookies? Will you share your contact list? Can we use your microphone? Just click no. In some instances, that's going to make the app shut down. If you try to use Zoom and you tell Zoom that it can't use your microphone and it can't use your camera, then if you're trying to host a Zoom call, it's just going to tell you that that's not possible, right? That's no problem. In that case, you can click yes, use it just this one time. Those are the easiest ways to protect your privacy. If you want to go a step further and protect your privacy even better, let me give you some perspective on how the internet sees each of us. Remember the movie Avatar? I think it was a Disney movie back from like 2001.
Yeah.
So in the movie, there was a Marine who was kind of digitally uploaded into the brain of an alien creature. And then he could control the creature on an alien planet. So now in that alien planet, the creature could survive and breathe and was strong and everything, but its brain was controlled by the Marine. So the creature was the Marine's avatar. In the digital world, nobody knows you as Amy or Holland. In the digital world, you're just an avatar. And the avatar is created by your digital behaviors. So nobody knows that it's Amy who drives to a certain grocery store at a certain time of day. Nobody knows that it's Amy who always uses the same credit card to buy the same bread brand, every Friday. What they see is an avatar 120221B. And that avatar has a certain set of behaviors. It just so happens that your avatar behaviors are exactly the same as Amy's behaviors because the avatar was created by Amy's digital behavior. Am I losing anybody or is it making sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense, especially with the analogy and the metaphor of the movie Avatar. And that's, and if our listeners haven't watched this movie, go watch it so you can understand what Andrew
So now here's the amazing part, Holland and Amy. If you just change who you're logged into on your phone, remember how on a laptop you can choose whether you're logged in as you or a guest or a different user? If you just change the user login, now you're building a different avatar. Essentially, you're going undercover. You're incognito in a different avatar doing the same things that you normally do. So to the Microsoft and the Apples of the world trying to collect avatar data, when you only use one avatar to buy things on Amazon and you use a completely different login name when you buy things from, Home Depot, then you're actually hiding your behaviors from your one user identity. So now that one user identity doesn't have a full picture of who you are. Essentially, you are protecting who has what privacy data from you at any given time. Home Depot has part of it, and Google has part of it, but nobody has all of it, which means that you are in better control of your data than someone else.
Fascinating. All right. So I've got to go through my entire black book of username and passwords and make sure every single one of them is unique and different, right?
So what I would actually recommend that you do is just have two. Have a primary and have a backup. You're not alone, Amy. Every one of us knows what it's like to have 11 email addresses and one password for all 11 email addresses. And the dark web knows that that's what you do also. So really all you need to do is have two identities, two passwords, two email addresses, and make those two passwords different. And then, on Monday, you live the life of one. On Tuesday, you live the life of a different one. And that way, your friends are still seeing your email address. You might still log into Outlook, or you might still log into Gmail from whatever identity you're logged into your computer or your phone as. But it means all the difference to the person collecting the privacy data. They don't know that it's you, even though the recipient understands that it's you.
Okay. Woo! Whew. All right, Holland. This is a lot.
I don't know how old your kids are, but how do you or what will you tell them about how to stay safe online?
Yeah, so I have two children. I've been blessed with two wonderful children. My son is 9. My daughter will be turning 5 this summer. And they're in that internet age. My son especially, he does a lot of his education online. He does a lot of his personal hobbies have to do with the arts. So he's listening to music online. He's building videos and sharing them online. We're not a video game family for lots of reasons, because partially because video games are a total mine for personal data. And my son knows that. So essentially what I teach my kids is the same thing I just taught you. They have two different personas. They have the persona for whenever they're building their own art online, and they have a different persona for whenever they're doing their education online. So again, nobody has a complete picture of who my children are online. It's not that hard because you can usually log into one computer with 5 different identities, 5 different emails if you choose. So it's actually very easy to have that practice set up. But the other thing I teach my children is to understand that the internet is a simulation of real human relationships, but it is not real human relationships. This is something I struggle with a number of my clients. I have some very wealthy clients that I serve through Everyday Spy. Corporations hire me to come out and teach cybersecurity and teach security practices, physical, mental optimization. And I will sit with very talented mid-30s, early 40s engineers, really successful people making $250,000 a year plus. And they will tell me that they have friends online, friends that they've never met, friends who they don't know their first and last name, but they think that they're friends because they are in the same Reddit chat room, or they use the same Discord server, or they play the same game every Friday night. They've been on the same Dungeons and Dragons quest for the last 6 years. And they'll tell me that they know these people because, I know my buddy got married 2 years ago and he has 2 kids and all this other stuff. The internet has found a way to synthesize the personal relationship without having a personal relationship. And it does that because the more you trust the person you're talking to, the less you secure your own information. The relationship that you have with somebody else on Discord is not valuable. It's not profitable in the eyes of Discord or World of Warcraft or whatever else. There's no money to be made from you having friends, Holland. The money is made when your friends are willing to log in every day from multiple platforms to play the game every day, and they can see how that person behaves online. Because while they're playing World of Warcraft with you, they're also watching YouTube. They're also checking Facebook. They're also logging into their bank account. They're also, reading the news. And there's tons of information to be gathered from every one of those behaviors. World of Warcraft is just the thing they're doing with you. That's not a real relationship. That's a contrived artificial relationship, like putting a dog in heat in the same kennel as a male dog.
Thoughts on that, Holland? Because I've got one.
That's quite a mental picture.
That is, yeah. I try not to pull the punches when I tell you about how your information is collected from you. It's not with your will.
Yeah. And I think what you were talking about with the relationships is so compelling as a teacher, as an educator. And recently in the news, there was a young 12, 14-year-old whose mom came forward to talk about the sextortion that this child had endured through video games. And again, wanting that relationship, wanting to be part of a community. And then what you talked about before is our biggest cyber threat is giving away data, giving away information by the will, by human behavior. Ugh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is really good information because I think especially as we move forward, and this isn't going away. Pandora is out of the box. So how do you live with it? And so, Andrew, how can we use some of these tactics of cybersecurity in particular, or espionage in general, to influence how we live our everyday lives?
Yeah, so this is what my whole company is about, teaching people how spy skills, how espionage skills can give you a leg up, an edge, an advantage in everyday life. And let me just give you a really easy example. Everything that you learn today, if I told you something you didn't previously know, if I gave you a point of view that you didn't previously have, think about the fact that you are now equipped with information that other people simply don't have. When you have information that other people don't have, knowledge that other people don't have, a point of view that other people don't have, that means you have something that's known as informational superiority. You have an advantage. You have an unfair edge. When I talk to you about how to build a avatar that can't be tracked, or when I tell you how to split your data between Home Depot or Walmart, when I tell you to keep in mind that, relationships that are digital are synthetic and artificial. These are all points of view. These are all new ways of thinking, new mindsets, new mental models that you can use every day in every interaction. That's really what I want people to understand when we talk about cybersecurity. And espionage is about protecting secrets. And I want everyone to be able to protect the secrets that matter the most to them. Your habits, your interests, your personal relationships, those are secrets that are valuable to you, and you should not let anyone steal them, even though there are people trying to. So let's use some of these techniques to protect your secrets, because that's espionage.
I think I'm gaining some of that informational advantage tonight, Holland, and I am so grateful, Andrew.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure, Amy.
All right. Well, we have one last question then. What's a metaphor to help us understand cybersecurity?
Oh, man. So I tell me if this is too nerdy, right? But I like to say that cybersecurity is a chimera. For anyone who doesn't know what a chimera is a mythical creature that draws the hunter into the hunt, but can never be caught. And that's how I think of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is something that it draws you in. You have to take it seriously. You can't just ignore it because it's a very real thing. But at the same time, you will never have perfect security, because as fast as you can implement healthy practices, there's somebody else on the other side finding a new way to steal from you, finding a new app that's going to lure you in, creating a new video game that's going to get you to make a mistake because it's just too valuable to collect your data. So for me, cybersecurity is a chimera. It's worth your energy to hunt that beast down, but understand that you will never catch the beast.
Okay.
I know, Holland. This is, again, I just feel like I think I'm glad that I'm learning this information. Sure. So your metaphor is spot on, Andrew. It is spot on. Absolutely. Well done.
Thank you.
Where can folks learn more about you or connect with you, Andrew? Tell us a little bit about Everyday Spy.
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll find me at my website, everydayspy.com, or online in any social media platform at Everyday Spy. I've got a very popular iTunes Top 100 podcast called the Everyday Espionage Podcast. And I know that today our conversation was kind of intense and serious. And Holland and Amy, I apologize. I'm never the person anyone invites to dinner for a light conversation. But I do have some fun stuff that I like to share. And for for both of you to take the pressure off of today's conversation, go ahead and go visit everydayspy.com/quiz. everydayspy.com/quiz, because I've built a quiz that will tell you your spy superpower. And it's just a ton of fun to figure out why it is and what kind of super spy you would be if you got a call tomorrow from CIA and you were recruited overnight. And everybody can learn what their superpower is at everydayspy.com/quiz. And that's just fun, nothing scary.
Oh man, Holland, I know you're going to go do this immediately because this is your.
I've already pulled it up. Yeah, I've already pulled it up. He can collect information on me from my behaviors on this quiz.
There you go. There you go. I love it.
All right.
Oh, goodness.
All right. So everyone else, please join us next week after you go to everydayspy.com/quiz. Join us next week for a conversation about safety in leisure and sports.
Absolutely. And so we want to say thank you so much, Andrew. This was a fascinating conversation. I feel energized and ready to go change all my passwords. But everyone else who's listening to this, please review us, rate us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Become a subscriber to the afterwordpodcast.com because it does help us keep the conversations going. And as always, remember, you are welcome at our table.